We're going to teach you how to be more intentional about what gets your attention. Now, I want you to write this question down. You want to ask this question: do I really want to think about this right now? If you'll learn to ask that question every day, it'll change your life. Because you think about stuff all the time without stopping to ask this question: do I really want to think about this? It's a choice. You start to get worried. You should stop and say, do I really want to worry about this right now? You start to get fearful. Do I really want to be fearful right now? You start to get upset about something. Do I really want to be upset about this right now? You start to obsess over something. Do I really want to obsess? Nobody's holding a gun to your head. You start to get discouraged. Do I really want to think discouraging thoughts right now? It's your choice. A lot of times we act like we don't have any choice over our feelings or don't have any choice over our thoughts, but you do. You're made in God's image. And so you need to learn to ask this question over: do I really want to think about this right now? Nobody's forcing you to think thoughts that get you down, that depress you. Nobody's forcing you to think thoughts that cause you to be afraid or insecure or nervous or lack confidence. Nobody's forcing you to these things. You need to take control of your thoughts. You need to start thinking about what you think about. If I were to ask you this very important question, I would want you to consider it. Why are you letting other people determine what you think? Why are you letting other people fill your mind with stuff I don't really want to think about that? Well, fine, change the channel, tune out, do something different. That's the first principle of learning to let God control our lives. Number 2, here's the second pillar. Any change I want in my life must start in my mind. Any change that I want in my life must start in my mind. Now, while my thoughts control my life, and I can control my thoughts, any change that I want to make, or for good or bad, it all starts in your mind. Change starts in your brain, not in your behavior. Change starts in your cerebellum, not in your circumstances. Change starts inside you, not outside you. So many of the things you've tried to change in life, you tried to change by changing your behavior. Wrong place to start. You don't start by changing your behavior. You start by changing the way you think about whatever you want to change. It all starts in your mind. And that's why God says this in Romans 12:2. Do not conform yourselves to the standards of this world. In other words, what the world says is important. Don't conform yourself to what the world thinks is important, but let God transform you inwardly by a complete change of your mind. Now notice, you're going to either be conformed or you're going to be transformed in life. You're going to be conformed, you're going to be like everybody else by listening to everybody else. Or you're going to be transformed, you're going to be different, you're going to be great by letting God renew your mind, by letting God change your mind, by rethinking your life. Now, I don't care how old you are, it's time to rethink your life. And I'm going to help you do that in the weeks ahead. I'm going to help you rethink your life, because a lot of stuff you've been thinking is actually stinking thinking. And you need a checkup from the neck up, okay? And so Dr. Warren is here in the house. And I'm going to give you a checkup from the neck up in the weeks ahead and get rid of all that stinking thinking and start choosing intentionally on what you do want to think about and not what you don't want to think about, because that controls your life. Don't be conformed to the standard of this world, but be transformed by a change of your mind. In other words, don't be pressured from the outside. Here's what Jesus said. I love this. One of the Beatitudes in the Message paraphrase, Matthew 5:8 says this: you're blessed when you get your inside world, in other words, your mind and your heart, put right. Then you can see God in the outside world. So he said it starts on the inside. Any change you want to make in your life starts in your thoughts, not in your feelings, not in your behavior. Now that leads me to the third pillar of rethinking my life. This is a big one. I can change how I feel by changing how I think. I can change how I feel by changing how I think. Would you like to feel better? Well, let me tell you, here's how you're going to do it. You're going to learn to change the way you think. The way you think determines the way you feel. A lot of times we try to change our feelings, but that doesn't work. Have you noticed that your feelings are quite resistant to your will? You know, you don't want to feel a certain way and you try to force yourself to not feel that way, but you still do. Your feelings often rebel and they are resistant to your will and you can't command them. You can tell yourself, stop being sad. How's that working? It doesn't work. Or, I command you to be happy. It's like telling a little kid who's crying, stop crying. I'm trying, Mommy, I'm trying. You can't force a feeling. Feelings, many, many times, are uncontrollable. You can't control your feelings all the time, but you can control your thoughts, and your thoughts determine your feelings. If you're feeling fearful, you're thinking fearful thoughts. If you're feeling depressed, you're thinking depressed thoughts. If you're feeling angry, it's because you're thinking angry thoughts. If you're feeling bitter, it's because you're thinking bitter thoughts. You can't change the feeling, but you can change the thought. And when you change the thought, you're going to feel a whole lot better. So you just choose. I have a choice. I can start thinking about what I am thinking about and be more intentional. I mean, let me just parallel this. If you're sitting at home and you're watching TV and there's a commentator, TV news commentator on there who you totally disagree with, and you're getting more and more and more and more frustrated with them, how do you get rid of that frustration? You go, I'm not going to be frustrated. I'm not going to be frustrated. I'm not. No, you just turn the channel. And the same is true with your mind. I don't want to worry, then change the channel. I don't want to be depressed, then change the channel. I don't want to lust, then change the channel. I don't want to be bitter, then change the channel. You don't resist it. Whatever you resist persists. You simply refocus. We're going to talk about these in depth in the weeks ahead. I'm just giving you an overview of where we're going. And the third thing I want you to understand is that I can change how I feel by changing how I think. Let me give you a couple examples right out of the Bible. Here's one from David, Psalm 42, verse 6. David says, my heart is breaking. Now that's strong emotion. So, he says, I turn my thoughts to God. Notice, I turn my thoughts to God. That's a choice. My heart is breaking. I'm not going to be thinking about what's breaking my heart. I'm going to turn my thoughts to God. That's a choice. Look at the next one. Jonah. In Jonah 2:7, he says, when I'd lost all hope, that's an emotion, I turned my thoughts once more to the Lord. Some of you need to write that verse down. You need to memorize it. You need to put it on a card. Maybe we'll make it our memory verse this week. When I had lost all hope, I once again turned my thoughts to the Lord. Jonah 2:7. Let's just say that together, okay? Say it with me. Jonah 2:7. Say it. Jonah 2:7. When I had lost all hope, I once again turned my thoughts to the Lord.